youth, and we have even adults that are getting addicted to many items and many things out there. In the past, it was getting addicted to only a few things, but today there are games one can get addicted to, movies, pornography, gambling. One can get addicted to all sorts of vices, and there is an endless part of taking a person losing themselves in taking drugs, in moving from the life of obedience to the life of disobedience. Well, my friend, what happens with the nature of sin is that each time a person sins, there is a black dot that is placed onto the heart. Each time a person does a good deed, there is a white dot placed onto the heart. Each time a person does another good deed, there is another white dot on the heart, until it will go completely white, and there will only be the nur of Allah Azza wa Jal, and a person will only want to be inclined towards Allah. And if the reverse happens, and a person commits a bad deed, then that bad deed will bring a black dot onto the heart. The angel will throw a black dot onto the heart. And if a person continues to sin again, there will be another black dot onto the heart. And a person sins again, there will be another black dot onto the heart. Until the heart feels a kind of rustiness, and the heart feels that it is becoming hard. And the heart becomes such that the heart does not necessarily want to accept the good message that Allah has kept in the Quran and the Sunnah. And if a person is very clean-hearted, the moment they open the Quran, they will have tears coming down their eyes. إنما المؤمنون الذين آمنوا بالله ورسوله. Believers are those who believe in Allah and His Messenger. إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانهم. When Allah's name is mentioned, their hearts start to tremble. When Allah's mention is mentioned in front of them, when Allah's name is taken, then their hearts begin to tremble. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. And when the ayats of the Quran are recited, then the Iman goes up. This is the believer. The believer listens to the Quran, believer's Iman increases. As for the person who has got hypocrisy inside them, they've got a marad or a disease inside them, as for that person, Allah Azza wa Jal makes the reverse happen. That person listens to the Quran, they don't feel much. The person listens to Allah's name, they don't feel nothing. It's like, okay Allah. It's like, I've heard Allah. Just like you might talk about Jack, you might talk about Ruby, you might talk about, some other, whoever you talk about, it's just a name. For the believer to be inclined towards Allah, a believer needs to stop sinning with the eyes. For the believer to be connected to Allah, a believer needs to stop sinning with the ears. For the believer to feel the great presence of Allah and like to actually remember Allah, a believer needs to stop sinning with the tongue and sinning with the heart, because the heart actually becomes rusty and hard with the sins that go directly inside. And when a believer refuses to sin because he is remembering Allah, then Allah is remembering the believer. How? إذا ذكرني عبدي في نفسه ذكرته في نفسي. When my believer will remember me in his heart, I will remember him in my exalted being. إذا ذكرني في ملأ. When my believer will remember me in a gathering, ذكرته في ملأ خير منه. I will remember the believer, I will remember him, I will remember my servant in a gathering better than that. Allah remembers us in the gathering of the angels when we remember Allah in our hearts. Allah remembered you throughout this whole while, just that you remembered Allah this whole while. And what happens is this calmness that you felt, this tranquility that you felt, It is from Allah. Because the one who is the one who lightens up the heavens and the earth has just given you a spark and a light in your heart, because of which you felt some tranquility and you felt some calmness and peace inside your heart. And what we need to do is we need to increase this. As a person starts to remember Allah and they engage with us, Allah, with the tongue and the heart, and they carry on doing that, they carry on doing that, they carry on doing that, Allah gives them a light, Allah gives them a way out. Allah gives them a way out towards His nur and towards His light. Wallahu yahdi lunurihi man yasha. Allah will guide to His nur, to His light, whoever He wants. And what happens is that a person feels some kind of strength inside them, a strength against their addiction, a strength against the bad things that they've been doing, a strength that makes them feel that, you know what, I've got something inside me that's going to draw me towards Allah. And a person gets some kind of passion and some kind of desire, even if it's faint. A person starts to get that in themselves, and a person wants to remember Allah. That's when a person wants to come to Salah and they want to stand in front of Allah, and they don't want to just stand in front of Allah and just say Allahu Akbar subhanakallah wa bihamdika wa tabarak asmuka wa ta'ala jadduka wa la ilaha ghayruka. No. A person doesn't want to do that. A person wants to feel that they're coming in front of Allah, and they're coming in front of Malikul Muluk, who is the king of all kings. A person is coming now in front of the Rahman, the one who is the most merciful, to in front of the Malik, the one who owns everything, in front of the Khaliq, the one who created me in my mother's womb, the one who is Ghafoor, who's going to forgive me and always is forgiving me, the one who's Samir, who heard every single word I made on this earth when I came to this earth, all the way till today, and all the words I'm going to make and say from my mouth until the day of judgment. That's Samir. And He is Basir, who sees me, sees my actions, knows everything. While I sleep, He watches me. While I play, He knows me. While I'm with my friends hanging around, He knows me, He sees me, He watches me, He knows everything about me. That's the one I'm going to stand in front of. And He is the Alimul Ghaibi wa Shahada. He knows the future, He knows the unseen. He knows what is happening, He knows what's going to happen tomorrow. He's the one who's told me, La ma tadri nafsum madha taksibu ghada. You don't even know what you're going to do tomorrow. وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. You don't even know the earth you're going to die. You think you're living in Trinidad all your life and you're going to die in Trinidad, and you didn't even realize that you're going to go on a holiday somewhere, and in the holiday, while on holiday, Allah's going to take you up. You didn't even know that. You didn't even know the way your death is and which land your death is. Allah only knows your death, my death, and the land which we die upon. That is the Allah that I'm going to stand in front of. And that is the Allah that has told me that if I pray properly now, I should be able to stop myself from sinning. So what is that way of stopping myself from sinning? Well, when I come in front of Salah, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be collective. I'm going to take Allah's name. I'm going to think that this is it. I'm going to disconnect myself from everything else and connect myself with Allah. So what does a person do? A person stands and a person makes a niyyah and a person raises their hands. And a person gives up. Oh Allah, that's it. I've given up. Oh Allah, here I am. I surrender. This is surrender. In Salah, this is surrender. I surrender my time for you. There are brothers and sisters who say they ain't got no time to pray. They ain't got no time to pray. There are brothers and sisters who say that their work, they can't pray. There are brothers and sisters who say they've got enough time to go out there and earn a salary, to go out there and drive and do the shopping, but they ain't got time to pray. Tell me this. When you're on your phone, you never say that the time on WhatsApp and the time on Telegram is getting too much. I ain't got no time for WhatsApp. I ain't got no time for WhatsApp. No one say that, boy. No one say that. When a movie is going to be watched, nobody says that I can't watch this movie because the movie is too long. It's too long. It can take all night. 1 hour, 20 minutes. Who got 1 hour and 20 minutes to watch the movie? That's what you're going to say, right? It's too long. Nobody says that. They watch it. When football comes on, 90 minutes are finished. 90 minutes of watching a game are finished. And a person is there and they go into extra time. Who says that extra time, I got no time for extra time? No one says that. And imagine on the day of judgment, Allah is going to say, Allah will say, and this is scary, my servant, I gave you the phone I gave you the phone, or I did not give you the phone. Yes, Allah, you gave me the phone. My servant, I gave you the phone, and I gave you the items on the phone, and I gave you the brain to think of what's on the phone. I gave you the education of reading what's on the phone. I made you know what that is. I gave you a language, I gave you a tongue. My servant, you telling me that you had no time for me, the one who gave you the phone, but you have time for the phone. My servant, I gave you the car, yes or no? Yes, Allah, you gave me the car. My servant, I give you the car, I make you have the car. I give you the petrol and I give you the money for the diesel of the car. I give you the salary at the end of the month, and I'm the one who secured a job. And you're telling me, my servant, you have no time for me, but you have time for your work. You have no time for me, and you have time for your car. My servant, did I give you the family, or did you get the family yourself? Oh Allah, you gave me the family. I gave you the wife. I gave you the husband. I gave you the children. You have time for your children. You have time for your wife. You have time for your husband, but you don't have no time for me. You have time for your husband. You have time for others, but you don't have time for me. My servant, did I give you the time to spend on the earth, or did you gain that time yourself? Oh Allah, you gave me the time. My servant, the one who gives you time, you have now no time for me. The one who gave you time, you have no time for him. Allahu Akbar. What are you going to say on the day of judgment? All those brothers and sisters here who don't actually pray, I want you to think about the answer you're going to give Allah on the day of judgment for not praying. And all of those brothers and sisters who are actually praying, you come and you say, oh Allah, I surrender to you and I admit that you are greater than anything that I've ever known. You are greater than me. You are greater than my life. You are greater than my problems. You are greater than anything around me. You are greater than my job. You are greater than my car. You are greater than my phone. You are greater than my TV. You are greater than my games. You are greater than my friends. You are greater than anyone that is around me. You are greater than my parents. You are greater than my house. You are greater than my entertainment. You are greater than the things that I love on this earth. Allahu Akbar. You are the greatest. Allahu Akbar. You are the greatest. That's what Allahu Akbar means. I surrender to you and I say you are the greatest. And then when a person ties their hands, Subhanaka Allahumma. Oh Allah, I admit that you have no fault on your side. I have all the faults on my side. That is Subhanaka Allahumma. Oh Allah, you are so pure. You have no fault on your side. I am the one that has all the faults on my side. Wa bihamdika, wallah, I praise you right now. Wa tabarak asmuka. So blessed is your name. Wa ta'ala jadduka. So exalted is your majesty. Wa la ilaha ghayruka. And there is no one worthy of any worship except for you.